straight ahead. I'm your host for today, and my name is Shokwe Falano. I'm happy to host you and to also have a session, host a session and got to take over from here. We have a resource person amongst us. In five, four, three, two, one. We'd like him to put on the video and let everyone say, "Woo!" This is not the kind of thing that we have. All of those round of applause that actually comes with effect and sound. So a round of applause to our resource person for today. He goes by the name Emmanuel Bassi, and we'll be going ahead to share his citation or his profile for everyone to listen to. Emmanuel Bassi is a dynamic, innovative, and strategic mind with an intersection of academia and the corporate industry, with a BSc and MSc in accounting from the prestigious Unilag. All the Unilag alumni in the house say hi. It's as if the people that went to your school are not here. Unilag alumni in the house say hi. You can actually unmute and say hi. Hi. Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, hi. Augustine Ajimuda. Hi. Who else? All right, no problem. We'll go ahead. From the prestigious University of Lagos and an executive MBA, he embodies a rare blend of academic depth and hands-on industry experience. As a sitting university lecturer at Taraba State University, Bassi spent 5 years shaping future leaders while contributing over 15 scholarly publications and conference presentations spanning corporate governance, financial reporting, ESG, big data, and artificial intelligence. I believe that deserves a round of applause. I wish I could unmute everybody so that I'll be hearing all the sounds that is going on in your background, but I can do virtual applauses. So please let's give him a round of applause. Very impressive. His career journey began in audit at Victor Falak & Co., chartered accountant. He progressed through a vital finance role as the accountant of Gynescope Specialist Hospital, Lagos, and now thrives in Lagos as a financial and data analyst at Johnny Femi Consulting, Lagos, a firm focused on strategy, management, and finance. In this role, he bridges numbers with narratives, using data to drive decision-making and transformation. Beyond his corporate and academic achievement, Bassi serves on the boards of Homes by Radiant. We're speaking to not just a co-YPF, but they are speaking to a board member, multiple board member, a Starlight Real Estate Company in Lagos, Giovanni Grids Architecture, a formidable architectural design and construction company, and Elion Enterprise Limited, a procurement company in Calabar, where he lends his strategy, operations, and financial management expertise to shape visionary growth. Sorry, that was Nigeria, but Messi said no. He's a recipient of Debt Fund fully funded master's scholarship in 2023. He's a passionate advocate for personal and organizational development. That's why he's your resource person. He works with individuals and teams to unlock potential and chart bold paths forward. His story is a living testament to what's possible when curiosity, competence, and character converge. Let's give it up together for Bassi Emmanuel. Thank you very much for everyone that has joined after I started this. You're welcome again to our professional chat room. This is our chat room, and this is a place where you're allowed to. Please feel free. Deborah will be now. Thank you very much for joining us. Grace, thank you. Dami, it's good to have you here. Confidence, we are happy to have you. Shitkende, we're happy to have you. Thank you very much, everyone that has joined in the last few minutes. I've just read through the profile. I'm happy that we had shared it on the group so you can easily pick it from there. I've just read through the profile of Bassi Emmanuel, our resource person for today. I've introduced myself as Shokwe Falano, your anchor for today. Although I'm not holding a mic, maybe I should hold my barrel. I'm your anchor for today. My name is Shokwe Falano, and I'm happy to have you here. Peace Adeleye, thank you very much for joining. We'll just go straight right up into the reason why we've had this. I'm sure a number of us have actually seen what we put on the group as the background for this session. This session was bettered first by the Holy Spirit because we find a number of us are in a journey in our different careers that require some level of discernment, some level of redirection. And we trust that these sessions we can all share together. We're not trying to say that we know it all. So the fact that someone is your resource person or your anchor doesn't mean that they are there yet. But we can share, we can rub minds, and we can unmute and just share our different experiences in the corporate world. Today, our theme is my career, a journey between dreams and duty. My career, a journey between dreams and duty. I would like for our host to please pop it in the chat so that everyone has an idea of what we are discussing today. We are discussing career, a journey between dreams and duty. We'll start with questions, but please know that your questions are all invited, no matter how it sounds. Don't think that, oh, these people here, they've all gone far, and I don't want to start asking questions. Let it not look like, oh, I've not gotten any. Please, please, please go ahead and ask the questions that you want. Ask with all of the interest that you have, and by God's grace, we'll be able to answer all of those questions. So the first question I'm going to ask our resource person, Emmanuel, is number one, how did you reach here? The number of the new words from your this thing, AI, artificial intelligence, ESG, big data, corporate governance, financial reporting, this executive MBA, board member, TED fund, Oga. How did you work out? How did you actually reach here? That's a question. And I'll invite him to go ahead to answer. We can't hear you if you're speaking. We can see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you. So you do something about your mic, please.
Me clearly?
Yes, please. We can hear
Okay.
you now. Please start from the very beginning.
Yeah. So I was saying thank you for having me, and thank you everyone who has joined this evening. When you give a citation like that, the person has to deliver. So you have raised the bar for me. So I'm hoping our time this evening will really worth it. Okay, so my journey through career has not really been a straight line. It's been challenging, and we are looking at the topic or the theme, my career, a journey between dreams and duty. And a writer says, your dreams are not what you see when you sleep. Your dreams are what keeps you awake. So
Mm.
for me, I studied accounting from my profile. I studied accounting, and it's something I've always wanted to study. So it's not like, okay, it's a course that what we used to say, they gave me. I applied for law, they gave me political science, or they gave me public administration or business administration. No, I applied for accounting. I recall when I was, looking for admission, I was given business education, but I decided not to go for it because I wanted accounting. And then when I got
That's the
accounting
spirit.
as a course, I went for it. But as I progressed, sometime around my 400 level, I got close to some senior friends who have gotten clarity, in where they really want to go. And then they advised that, okay, it is possible to be in the academia, because I've always loved when people answer, Professor A, Professor W, Professor Y. I'm like, wow, this is nice. But I got to understand that yes, you could interface between those being a professor and being, an industry expert, something like that. I'm like, okay, if that's possible, it means I can achieve it. Being an accountant and then a professor, in accounting and then an industry expert. But funny enough, as I progressed after my BSc, after NYSC, the whole desire for accounting just died off, right? It just died off because I got to learn that okay, the way accounting is structured, it wasn't really working for me. I was looking for something more, um, maybe more of a dynamic, not a routine. I'm not good with doing a routine. So if I come this morning and I do something, and I come tomorrow and do the same thing, if I do it for 3 months, I will leave it. So I always want things that challenge you. You come, and then the tax you're getting, it's the approach will be different from. So in that light, I knew that okay, though I was working, but this is not my career, right? So I started reading profiles, start looking at LinkedIn. I've joined LinkedIn early enough. Looking at LinkedIn, I saw people's profile that okay, people could study A and then they are not doing that A, right? So I was like, okay, that's nice. That's when I took an MBA course on entrepreneurship, which is outside my field. That's outside accounting, right? And then as I moved on, I once worked as an accountant in Lagos, but I moved on to being a strategist. I had to join a strategy department within the organization, even when there was an open vacancy for an accountant.
So you
And
allow me to cut you there, right?
okay,
So that we are not missing out on the information. I think the
that's
first thing
fine.
we've heard you say is you've always wanted to be an accountant. You had the opportunity of doing business education and you waited for accounting.
Yeah.
I think the first question is what could have informed that decision that will give you the, because many people when you wait for admission first year, second year, they are giving you the course you don't want. At some point, your parents will say, you know what, go do that one first. When you come back, you go know how you go do them. It does not mean that's what you do. Do you understand? I mean, you will find people that would advise you to settle, quote and unquote, because sometimes you found people that the settlement actually ended up being their career or they made the best out of it. How were you able to insist, or did you not have any pressures? Because I imagine that a number of people on this call also had to do courses that were not their first choice or their first love, and they had to settle for it, and they find themselves still on that path. So I would just want to know how were you able to shut the noise and go ahead, realizing that you may think that it's too late, but that answer may somehow shape the decision going forward. So please share with us how were you able to shut the noise and insist? Did you not have family, friends, well wishers saying, go ahead with what you've been offered and just stay there?
Okay. Yeah, I did. And unfortunately for me, or fortunately for me, it's fortunate and unfortunately, uh, the I didn't have parents who were financially buoyant, to train me in the university. So after my secondary school, I had, of course, I had the desire to go to the university, but I already knew that okay, it's a desire because the capacity wasn't there, right? So as God would have it, one of my uncle just came back one day and was like, I think I was just passing, and then he called me and said, are you serious at all? And I was like, wonderful. I've always been a serious person in secondary school. So why is this man asking me, am I serious? And he said, you're gonna travel with me to Lagos tomorrow. I'm like, okay, that's wonderful. And of course, he didn't mention anything about university, right? He was like, you travel with me to Lagos tomorrow. So it could be anything. Come and live with me, help me do house chores and all that. So when he came out clear that he's interested, in furthering my education, that was
Your
nice.
education.
That was nice. I could remember my elder brother calling me aside and saying, "This is an opportunity. Don't miss it." So let me now come back to your question. So when I got that admission to study business education, and I didn't want to go, you know the reaction you will expect from your parents who do not have the capacity to send you to school, your elder ones, who are seeing that as a one-time opportunity, and you're saying you don't want to study business education because it is not what you want. In light of that, I still insisted that it is accounting I'm interested in. I don't know where that came from. Maybe
So what
because
did
I
your
used
uncle
to.
do?
He didn't say anything. But I think later on in life, I got to understand why he didn't say anything. He had like four of his children in the university, and within that period, the university increased the fees. I think they doubled it. So, of course, the workload increased. So, I believe that's why he didn't say anything. Because why I'm saying this is there may be a person on this call that his own scenario might be different. The pressure might be, much from his parents and all that. But the thing is, it's a two-way thing. You need to sit down and assess it, right? It's not advisable looking at our environment. What Where we come from, for those of us that are on this call that are in Nigeria, in Africa, so this is peculiar to us. We live in an environment that gives you 99% reasons why your dream may not come true. So Nigeria, or Africa itself is an environment that discourages your dream. So as much as you're dreaming to become a lawyer, for example, and then the law admission is not coming in, you may have to weigh your options. Faithfully weigh your options, right? Because we are in a world where how far you will go, it's not really a function of what you study. So education is more or less an avenue of enlightenment. So it's to weigh your option and as a believer be prayerful. So if you look at it, let's set an example. You have a father who is about to retire, and he has trained your your siblings, your elder ones. Maybe you have like three elder ones and he had trained them. And then he wants to conclude, you're the last child, for example, and then you're sure or you're aware that this man is going to retire in the next 3 years or in the next 2 years per se. And you've been looking for medicine, you've been looking for law, and it's not forthcoming. It's good you weigh your options, you look at it. You can go for this course, and then over time you can still go for medicine, you can still go for law. We know of people who have more
Okay,
than one degree, two masters, three PhDs and all that. So it's always good you weigh the options. So it's not advisable that the person becomes so stubborn and that you miss out.
the point is very clear there. There may still be time for you to change direction. But I think it's very important for us to understand in the first place how, the question is, how did you get here? I have a sister, a number of people on the call may know her. When we were younger, everywhere that it seemed like there was money, that was my sister's goal. We go to the airport, we want to drop either of my parents traveling to be like, and we got there. I mean, it's funny now. I hope she's not on this call so that she doesn't roast me. And we got to the airport. Back then, meat pies were as cheap as 30 naira. Normal meat pie that they sell like outside in Mr. Biggs and Co, if I'm not mistaken. And we got to the airport and they were selling meat pie 200. Drinks, Coke and Co that were like maybe 40 naira, they were selling it 400. And she just said, these people are making money. Oh. I want to work. I want to be selling meat pie in airport. That's our future ambition. At some point, she said she wanted to be a banker. At some point, like anything that connected with money, that was literally her future ambition. And so maybe the question to you is, was accounting money inspired as a career for you?
I will say no because
Do you
at
like
the
maths?
age, yeah, I love maths. So at the age I thought of studying accounting, I was still young. So I used to follow my dad to the bank. He was, a pensioner then. So he goes to the bank to sign those, deposit, check, withdraw money and all that. So I was like, wow, I love, the ambience of, the banks, the work culture. So I loved everything about it. So I wasn't even aware of maybe the pay or whether it was high or not. So it wasn't really the money.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the next one is, what do you think at the point where you now start a job? I hear that, okay, before I go to that question, I hear you say you had the option to do business education. Everybody knows that education links you to the academia, but you decided to do accounting. And somewhere in your profile, we are reading that you had like a stint at the academia. Do you think that it was fate playing out? Did you think that it was actually what you were supposed to do right from the start that you ran away from?
No. I think one of the things I would love to do here, yeah, is to be practical. Now, I started off as an audit assistant, who relates to accounting, right? Auditors, they are more of accountants. And then when the lecturer job came in, this is Nigeria. We have food to eat. We need food to eat. We have bills to pay. So I weighed the options. The lecturing job pays higher than
Interesting.
the audit job. So I took the job that will pay my bills more.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for that. I think that's short and concise. So for the teachers amongst us, sometimes the teachers' reward is not in heaven. They are lecturing jobs that pay higher than audit jobs. That's very surprising to me. Now, the next question I'll have for you before we throw it up to the audience, and please we expect everyone to ask all the questions that they have. Do you think that the job that you land should determine your career? I mean, we've heard you say you got to 400 level, you're tired of accounting, and you decided to go ahead with switching, and much later you worked as a business strategist, or you worked in strategy team of you did a strategy function. At the point where you really want to do something else, and for example, from the get-go, you get another course in your university, and secondly, you find a job that's not necessarily linked to what you studied or linked to what you would even have studied. Do you think you should just start digging, or let's say, should you start clearing the path where you find yourself, or do you think it makes sense? The reason is that, to my mind, that question is not cast in stone. There are people that have found themselves doing other things, and at the end of the day, they succeeded with it, like they excelled at it. There are some other people that will rather wait and go back to their first love. So, how do you think we can find that balance? Please, if you're in the audience, please share your questions in the chat. We'd like to hear from you. Honest questions you can ask on behalf of yourself, on behalf of your friend, on behalf of your sibling, on behalf of your enemy. You're not supposed to have enemies though, but the Bible recognizes that sometimes you can have enemies. That will be your way of showing them love. So please ask your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand and would like to hear your voice. We are ready to unmute you for you to speak. So please go ahead.
All right. Now we are talking about finding your career path. We are talking about discovering your career. Now, your career doesn't really imply that it's different from your job, right? So most cases where people misinterpret it is that your career is different from your job. No, your career could be your present job. And that's why I said earlier that it is what keeps you awake, right? No, what keeps you awake, not in the sense that you're stressed, right? You have a lot of to-do list and so you're having less sleep. No. What keeps you awake in the sense that it makes you want to know more. It makes you want to invest more in it. So it could be your present job. So let's take, for example, a lawyer who is working in a firm, and the person is so passionate about law in its entirety. I know lawyers who are public speakers now. They've not practiced before, right? So their interest is public speaking and all that. So a lawyer who is passionate about, being, growing in ranks, in the law industry, that person's present job as a lawyer is the person's career, because that's what keeps the person awake, trying to read cases, trying to know more. So it's not always a different thing, right? So it's not always a different thing. So people should always check what I'm doing. Is it what I want to do? And like I always say, for me, I always say, what you're doing, is it something you can establish on? So if I'm a strategist for now, 10 years from now, let me take it far. 10 years from now, if I want to be a self-employed person, so what I'm doing, can it be established? You understand? I don't know if you get my point.
The point is clear, and I'm not sure why we have a very quiet chat room. Please, and please share your thoughts. If you differ, also share. Remember that we are here to actually collaborate and discuss and exchange ideas. I think the first point for me is every time I hear people say, what keeps you awake? What makes you not it's scary. Because while I did, I mean, no shades to River State, but while I did my NYC at River State, there were at some points during the NYC, I had to go learn tailoring. Or, I mean, people call it fashion designing, but tailoring, I go learn, right? I had a boss, then he's a guy, very young guy. He also had to drop out of school because of health reasons, but he was now running part-time. And we had this very special set of customers. They were guys. I mean, my boss is a guy. He used to sew what they call him unisex wears, or we like call it. He sold for both genders. Basically,
Yeah.
can sew females clothes perfectly, can sew male clothes perfectly. And we had this set of guys. When they come in like maybe on Fridays or Saturdays. They would all just gather. My boss is happy that at least he's going to sew bulk. What are they here for? Meeting clothes. So apparently these guys were from, I'm not going to mention the name of the state they are from because of the other information I'm going to pass. But it's these Sunday meetings they do, they gather together. Please just keep your hands raised. I'll come to you. They gather together, they have their meetings and all of that. And one time they came in, they greeted me, they asked my boss that, well, who be this girl? They say, oh, she's learning with me and everything. But the funny thing I found out much later, these guys actually have a very funny job that keeps them awake. And I found out from my boss, what is this job? They go and steal MTN cable in the night. Now that keeps them awake. That makes them want more. That makes them dream if in the context of it. So it's keeping me awake enough, right? To say, that means this is my career. I will even use myself as an example. Far back as 2019, I decided to follow my passion. My passion being, I now have a business with it by God's grace, interior decor. And I could not sleep in the night. I was drawing up designs, noting how all the different products I would offer and all of those things. 6 years after my business turned six this year, I can count how many jobs I've done, right? Because sometimes the job keeps you awake or the passion keeps you awake, but you cannot pay your bills. How do you manage at that point? Whether you stay where, oh, well and good, this is my career, or you shift to a passion that keeps you awake. We would like to hear from everybody. But on the point of, before we go ahead, hear from Peace, please, you can go ahead to speak. Can you unmute? Are you allowed to unmute on your end? Or do you?
Yeah, hi.
Okay, go ahead.
Evening. Can you hear me?
We'll be happy if we can see your face too. That will help the conversation, but go
Sorry, I
ahead.
don't think you can.
Okay, go
So
ahead,
I was
please.
just thinking about, since you said the chat room um wasn't lively. I thought to just break the ice. I was listening to the speaker, and first, thank you so much for such enlightening conversations. I just
Thank you,
thought
please.
out loud when he mentioned that job can be your career, and somehow I hold a different view, respectfully though. Your job in your career, I don't think your job can be your career. I think your job is just part of your career. So for example, I'm a lawyer. I decided to work with Jackson and Edu. That's the job I do. I don't know how to explain it. Like I do several things. Like I don't know if I'm able to articulate. I think your career is an awesome thing. Your job is a part of what you're doing. Yes, it may keep you awake, it may pay the bill, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think the job you're doing itself is a career. So, for example, I decide as a lawyer, I want to work in a law firm. And tomorrow I say, no, I want to work in a corporate, maybe in-house. I've switched jobs, but my career as a lawyer still subsists. Like it's not, I don't think a job is a career. It's part of it, but it's not. Am I communicating the thing that is in my head? So
I
I just thought
understand
to
the
voice
angle
out
you're
my
coming from.
You are, peace. You are.
thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for that contribution piece. Do we have any other person with a question, with a query, with a contribution, with a joke? I mean, jokes are welcome as well, as far as it will help each and every one of us to understand. For those that are just joining us, thank you for joining us. I'll be late. Victoria Igbekele, we see you. Thank you. Somto, thank you very much for joining us. Messi, thank you. Isaac, iPhone, we don't know you, but we see you. Ifunaya, thank you for joining us. Ife Remedy, thank you for joining us. Glad Day, and who else have I not mentioned? Anolua, Akinshola, I think these are a couple. If that's Aki and Sister Anu from KCC, hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're just joining us, please go ahead, Augustine Ajimoda. Let's hear from you. Please, this is an interactive session. For those that are just joining us, we have resource person, Emmanuel Bassi. He's done a lot straddling the corporate world and academia, and we're discussing my career, a journey between dreams and duty. We'd like to hear from you. Please go ahead, Augustine.
All right, thank you so much, Shope. My question goes to Emmanuel Bassi. So as far as you've gone in your career, business, and so, what are the opportunities you think you've missed as probably due to your belief as a Christian and your, let's say, family upbringing? So some of us, there are times you know the way we were brought up in the church. Don't do this, don't relate with this, don't, those kind of lifestyle. You may have this rigid mindset that, oh, I don't want to do this. People are, going here, or okay. A colleague of mine, we're just discussing today, and he said he met some, friends at a particular place, a very well-to-do place, that, but due to his belief, with people who are, what are the opportunities you've lost, and what do you think you could have done better? That's my question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Over to you.
Okay, let me start with peace view. Yeah, your job is not your career. That's correct. Your job is your career. That's also correct. So let me try and explain. The dictionary definition of a career uses a very significant one word I love so much. It says, let me look at what I just penned down. It says, a career is an occupation undertaken for a significant period. So that's where I want to dwell. A significant period of a person's life, right? So the first thing you're asking yourself right here, the first thing we should be asking ourselves is that what is taking a significant time of your life. In your 24 hours, what's taking your significant time? Now, one part could be your job because, okay, it's 9 to 8. Now, but when we sum it up, there is a popular saying that what you don't change, you become, right? So if I spend my years, let me use you as a lawyer. If I spend the next 30 years of my life as a lawyer, if you're in the civil service, it means you have about 5 years to retire. It's 35 years, yeah, right? In 30 years, what type of calls do you think you'll be receiving? You'll be receiving calls related to law cases or things related to, the law practice, right? So nobody will call you for, what should I say? Nobody will call you for fashion because a significant part of your life has been spent as a lawyer. Now, let's now bring in a job. What's a job from my definition? A paid position of regular employment. Now, if I can recall, you use two scenarios as a lawyer and then you're switching to other things. Now, what I believe is this, and why I say we shouldn't mix things up is this. When you attend some programs or when you read some content, they make it look like your job is just killing you. They make it look like, oh, you're not going to be, you're not going to go far in life because you're on that job. So you need to switch. And so you will find people being lawyers and learning fashion. Okay, now please, that's not a big deal. So but I want to use that as an example. You're a lawyer and you're learning fashion. And then the person is interfacing between fashion and law, but it's not balancing it. Now, I believe that career is more or less from the inside, right? It is a passion from the inside. And that's why I said it is what keeps you awake. The thief that our host mentioned, those thieves, that stealing is their career. It keeps them awake. They strategize. So they are professional thieves. So as much as we are professionals, they are also professionals, right? So if you are a lawyer and you're into fashion, there are two things to it. Do you love law so much that you have strategies, you have mentors, you're investing your money, you're investing your time, you're attending seminars, you're doing a lot of things because in a time frame you've set for yourself, you want to be a son, right? Or you're just doing what you're doing, working in the law firm because you need money to feed. And then you're investing in fashion with the mindset that from the inside, this is my passion. So in the next 10 years, I'm giving myself 10 years, I'm going to have Bassi and Bassi fashion line. And then when you're doing it, you're not tired. You just love waking up. So if you're sleeping, you want to wake up tomorrow into fashion. It's like somebody in sales. As the person is sleeping, the person is thinking, is there a client? Where am I going to, tomorrow? Where should I go to sell, to meet clients? That's the person's passion. So as the person is sleeping, the person is strategizing. But if it is your job, that is not your career, the best that job can do to you is because you have to-do list that is filled up everywhere. So you have to meet up those tasks, and that's why you're not sleeping. You just don't want to do it. But your career, your passion, let me add that word. You always want to do your passion, right? It's like what Paul said, that if he does not preach the gospel, we know that Paul was a tent maker, right? Paul was a tent maker, but Paul never told us that if he does not build tents, but he said if he doesn't preach the gospel. So that was his own passion as much as he was a tent maker. So so my assertion is your job could be your career, because if as a lawyer, of course, I'm a 9 to 5 person, right? I'm a 9 to 5 person, and I love what I'm doing because it's a job. So if you ask me what's your job, I'll tell you my job as an analyst, and I'm working with a company, so that's my job, and it pays the bills. But it is also my career because that's what I'm building, right? That's the passion I have. That's what I'm looking at, that, okay, in the next few years, I will have my own firm that is focused on this. So my career or my job has become what? My career. So I don't
Thank
know if
you
I've made
very
sense, Peace.
much. I think the point to note too is that when we're speaking of jobs, we are not speaking of the company you're working in. So
Yeah,
that
thank
if,
you,
I mean,
thank
the
you,
job
thank you.
is the profession, the discipline, the
Yeah,
area of practice, not necessarily the company you're working in. And I think another point is that your career is what you deliberately build. You can build a career out of your current job. You can choose not to. I know someone that's currently working in a bank, studied physics, for example. She's working in a settlement role, but she'd rather build a career out of data analytics. And she's trying to transition. That's when career transitioning comes in. But maybe the point I also picked is that if for any reason I wake up in the morning and I'm not looking forward to go to my work, that means maybe I've not yet started building career, because sometimes I wake up and I'm not looking forward to come to the office. My bosses cannot hear me, but basically, I'm not looking forward to go to work sometimes. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, God, that bad. So maybe I need to go and start looking for my actual career. And it's funny that lawyers are being used as the example, because the truth, you find lawyers everywhere. The popular people from filmmaking, Funke Akindele, in case you don't know, she's a lawyer, Jennifer, to music, Files, the bad guy, is a lawyer, to what else? To even baking, cooking, people that do, who do I know that is a popular person that cooks that is a lawyer? There are quite a number of people. And maybe this is not to blow our trumpet, but I'll blow the trumpet another day. It's interesting. We have one more person that has a hand raised. If Funaya, please go ahead. We'd like to hear from you. Questions, comments. We are 10 minutes away from our end time, from the end of this program. And we would like to take in as many questions. We don't want you to just come here, soak everybody's this life sponge, and go and point somewhere else. Let's hear from you, please. I'm begging. Thank you. Go ahead, please, Ifunaya. Go ahead to Somto. Ifunaya first, then Somto.
Okay, good evening. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everybody. Thank you,
good evening.
friends. Yeah, I didn't get the link on time or the notification on
Sorry
time.
about
So, but yeah, no problem. So, but I just want to comment on the little discussion that I had now on career, the difference between career, job, and all. And one thing that I want to just highlight is career doesn't necessarily need to be your passion. So sometimes people get into different kinds of career, different kinds of things or professional journey, not necessarily because it's their passion, right? So I am a lawyer as well. So I can be a lawyer now, like I trained as a lawyer, and maybe for the first 10 years of my life after being called to the bar, I was practicing, or I've been practicing as a lawyer. And then I decided to switch into HR. And then I started working as a HR official or office officer, and rose to the ranks. And maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm the group head of HR somewhere else. So you would see that in the span of my lifetime as a professional, I have done 2 careers. I've engaged in 2 professional journeys, one as a lawyer over a long period of time, 2 as a HR officer over another long period of time. So your career is long-term, is a long-term professional journey that contains related job roles, related employments and achievement within a field of endeavor. And then your job is what you are doing at a particular point in time, to earn. So what you are doing now, your JD, your job responsibility, wherever you are, that you are earning from now is your job, not necessarily your career. What you do long term, related in a field of practice. So there's one lady, Peace Adeleye, that spoke. So she said you can be, she has worked, or she is working in a law firm, and she has also worked in-house, that's in a company. But if you look at the similar connection, you would see that she has been working as a lawyer, how being different sectors of the law practice. She has worked in the law firm. She has worked in a different, in a company, maybe the company is doing oil and gas. She has worked in a company that is into finances. You will see that all through what is distinguishable or what is similar is that she has been in the legal field. So that's her career. If she does that for like 5-10 years, that's her career, irrespective of wherever she has been going to. She has been practicing law. Likewise, if she moves from that law now to HR or marketing and stays there too and builds, works different roles, different companies, but in the marketing or HR, you see she's also building career in HR. So what I'm saying in summary is that career is long-term professional journey, and it entails the different jobs that you do as long as they are within one field. Why job is what you do at a point in time within that career. It's temporary in nature, it's current, it has its own JDs. For instance, a software developer is like your occupation. Your occupation is software developer. Your job is, for instance, front-end developer. And then your career now is the journey you spend from maybe when you become a software developer, maybe when you become an intern. From being an intern, you became an official. From being an official, you started heading a unit. From heading a unit, you started heading a department. That's your career as a software developer. So I just thought to bring out these distinctions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ifunanya.
Thank you very much, Ifunanya, for those thoughts. I think it also reiterates the point that career is a function of your decision and your deliberate choice, right? You can find yourself in any job, but choosing a career out of it is a function of your decision. Thank you very much. Somto, you can go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, it's a guy.
Yeah,
Oh, hi.
yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, so you just touched on what I was going to say, and if not, just did as well. So I want to talk about like the issue of your job being your career or not your career, and also talk about passion. So I was listening to a speaker recently, he's an accomplished founder of different companies and stuff. So he said something, he said, don't follow your passion. And that is, I know that's like an extreme version of the point he was trying to make, but he's just trying to challenge the thing that we have been told growing up is always follow your passion, find a passion and follow it. But he says don't follow your passion, and here's why. First of all, like, I mean, this is not to say that if you have a passion, don't follow it. But I'm saying like if you've not found your passion yet, don't wait to find it before building yourself. So first of all, the reason is because okay, how many of us are doing the things that we wanted to do when we are small? That's something that when we were children, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to. So, but you grow up and you find out that life is not that easy to be all these things. Let's just enter something that you can find doing. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Exactly. So that's one thing. And then another thing is some of the roles that exist today, if you notice, they didn't even exist when we were in school. When we were in primary school, when we were in secondary school, the
Exactly.
AI we're talking about today didn't exist when we were, in primary school. Some of them in UNICEF, AI didn't exist. So what I'm trying to say is, or what he was trying to say as well is, your job can grow into your career. Um, Passion is, I mean, mastery doesn't always wait for passion. It meets you where you're working hard. It meets you where you're putting in the effort. So you can just decide that instead of waiting to discover what your passion is and years are just going by, like you said, you just that used to be me too. I just wake up and some days I don't feel like going to work. I'm like, this is not what I want to do in my life. I want to wait and find out what my passion is. You can also just decide, okay, you know what, maybe I'm just going to put my head down and grow where I'm working, put in the work and see where it leads me. And what do you know is most of people that are big founders and CEOs today, they just found themselves doing the jobs that they're doing and they put their head down. And before you know it, they became heads of their department. Before you know it, they became group heads. Before you know it, they are executives in their companies. If they are waiting to say, oh, I don't really like this job I'm doing, let me wait and see what God is going to impress on my heart to be my passion, they might still be where they are today. I mean, they might still be where they were today, just waiting around and hoping that their passion will fall on their laps. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is your job can be your career. Rather than waiting for the passion to come. If you have a passion that you're pursuing already, that's fine. Like your job doesn't have to be a career. You can just be doing your job to raise some money to start pursuing your passion. That's different. But if you've not found your passion yet, maybe you can just focus on doing your job and doing it to the best of your ability and see where it leads you. And you can build a
Thank
career out of
you
that. So
very
that's
much.
it.
I have
That's
to
very
clap for you,
insightful.
doctor.
That's very insightful. I think it's very important that whatever it is we are doing, we are also being mindful of the need to eat and the need to wear clothes and the need to spend money. I've heard many people say, oh, there's this joke that always goes around saying, any passion we know they pay na passion. Sorry, I'll interpret for those at the back. Any passion that doesn't pay you, like me, I have a passion for interior decor, decorate your house. If I did that interior decor, they would have known me on YPF group as Beggy Beggy. Because I mean, till the time when it's scalable, right? When you're still most times, and the tendency for passion is that if you're not careful, you'll find yourself doing it free of charge most times, right? Because you enjoy it so much, you may not even be able to put a price on the value that you are adding. That's the truth. So it's important that first you're finding something that actually also pays the bills and you don't wait. The people that say, oh, they're waiting to discover purpose. When people start telling you purpose, 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 just know that they're not going anywhere. But I hope that we can also all learn that we don't have to wait to find passion and all of those things to build a career. Sometimes the job you find yourself, if it's sane enough, right, and it's not dealing with your mental health or it's not something that is altogether out of your comfort zone, you can decide to build a career out of it. At the end of the day, it's your decision to make, and you ensure that you make the best out of it. We have one more person, and after that, we'll call it a close. We are actually at our deadline, but we'll call on Daniel. Please share with us what you have.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this
Good evening.
opportunity. Thank
Good evening,
you,
sir.
Emmanuel. Thank you, Shokwe. I don't know why I find it difficult to pronounce your name. Uh, my apologies if I did not pronounce it correctly. So I was going through a LinkedIn post. So I'm in this data science community, Lekki data science community, and someone there posted something about a colleague or someone that, Microsoft had some uh, reduction in their staff size recently, and they laid off about 6,000 employees, right? So we see most of this layoff um, majorly in the tech space. I'm in the tech space. So, and this person is part of the 6,000 that was laid off. Now, the person is just trying to say something, and I find what he's saying something that we can share. So I'll just read some of what I found there. It say who you are deep down, how you treat and show up for others, your passion, how you love to spend time, your faith in God, your role in others, lives, your role in other lives as a friend or family. Those things make up your real identity. So yes, we have questions about your passion, your job. Yeah, and everybody can deliberate about it. I'm perfect. We are very fine, very fantastic ideas people are bringing up. But there's something we need to also look at. So this person is saying that when is your last breath at your funeral, the last thing anyone will mention is your job. People will remember you by what your shared experience, how you made them feel, the impact you made on them. So we have to also remember that these things are what truly matter. So when we are putting job, we are putting career, it's all for humanity. So one thing I would leave with everyone this evening is you may want to go reconsider it. Um, your job your career, is it something that you can come out with and really get a reward for? Your job, your career, is it something that God can look out to you and say, well done? So today we know this song we sing up and down. I've decided to follow Jesus. Yeah, I like it. I've decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. And I know there's a line there that says, and we will get well done. So in my job, in my career, I hope I'm looking forward to get well done. Yes, I am. But also for 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 every one of us here. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very
Sobe,
much.
I don't know, before we, maybe skip it, um, Augustine asked a question or about three questions that I feel there's need for us to attend to. He said, are there opportunities that I have missed, or you may have also missed, due to our belief? And then family upbringing, has it affected our career decisions? And then lifestyle. So for me, Augustine, I don't know if you're still on the call. Ajimoda Augustine, right? Ajimoda Augustine, are you with us?
Yes, yes, I'm here. I'm
All
still
right.
here.
All right, thank you. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, there are opportunities I have missed due to, and I believe some people here may have also had a similar experience, right? Due to my belief. Now, sometime in 2018, when I was 7, I traveled home. I think around I went to camp in November 2018. Then sometime in April, I traveled home for my elder brother's wedding. And then there was a woman who came around, and very wealthy woman, more or less maybe the wealthiest in my town then. I don't know if there's a new person. And she decided to do several things in the town. And then she was looking for an accountant, or someone, not really an accountant per se, but someone to manage the finances, right? Someone to manage the finances. And okay, they reached me. She had a clause on it, right? That the person has to come from that particular ward in my town, right? And then they reached me that, okay, this is what is on ground, and we would love you to take this job. And the woman is promising, because I think the woman's husband is, as at then, is number 2 in one of these paramilitary, number 2 in Nigeria. So I was advised that, okay, I should just go this NYSC. Why not leave it and come back and do it later? I looked at it. This is Nigeria. When you're making decisions here in Nigeria, you need to be a Nigerian. You need to take cognizance of the um the environment, right? And I heard several stories of people who have left it, later reapplied, and the pay was good. The pay was good. As at 2018, somebody was offering between 250 to 300. As at 2018, even in 2025, salaries are still within that range now. I looked at it and I seeked one on, I sought out for advice here and there. And I know if you have started something, as a believer, you finish it. I say, finish it. I know people who have started masters, they left it and came back to it. I said, okay, from my inquiry, you can pause the program, because I even know of my cousin who paused it and went for masters and came back. He said, no, because the only advisors I had as at then were more or less pastors in where I worship. So I left. So I missed that opportunity. And fast forward to years later, I know the person who took it, one guy from my town. when I finished NYC, was already driving a car and all that. So what I'm saying is, because of what I felt I believe, because I started it, I must finish it, because I'm a believer, the advice I got, I missed that opportunity. But that kind of opportunity is not something, except it is God impressing it on you. You make strategic decisions. So when you're making business decisions, lifetime decisions, you incorporate God, but God still allows us to think. You look at, okay, what should I do? What should I not do? This is NYSC, for God's sake. Except God is saying, no, I need you to, for what I have for you, or, for what I want you to do in the next 1 year after NYSC, if you do this, it will delay it. If not, it's a strategy decision. Yeah. So, and I believe many people may have more complex scenarios that they've missed opportunity because of what we believe. But the summary of that is, you must always be strategic when you're making decisions. Some people don't, and even believers. Yeah, I have a brother in Ibadan. He handles my laptop dealings. There are several times I've told him, you can't make money, and more or less you can't make it with this your attitude. This is business. You do business. You understand? You do business. It's service. The service industry, because you're not selling a product, right? You're not selling a product. Some people just want to give you anything. I said, no, you must be strategic with what you're doing. This is not something about, you're not doing the wrong thing. So you need to look at it. You're not duping somebody. You look at the profit you make. You don't kind of make it like what the Bible talks about usury, right? But you need to apportion. You're paying rent. This thing you're doing, that's where your house rent is supposed to come from. That's where the shop rent is supposed to come from. That's where your children that you want to send abroad, the money is supposed to come from. So you look at it and attach a profit that is enough to cater for these things, as much as you don't dupe people, right? So some people, because of belief, don't look at all those things. You buy something 10 naira, you sell it 11 naira, you're not ready yet. That's not Christianity. That's not, righteousness. You look at it, you count your cost. Then family upbringing, yes. I come from a place where we have this belief, even till now, that okay, when you finish school, they start looking for one government work for you here and there, come and work here and all that. If you want to strike, you want to stretch, that fear of, there's this idea that they embedded in us, that working in the private sector, the job is not secured. So it only takes someone who knows where he's going to say, I will not do it. Yeah, I have a cousin that they gave a job. He say he's not doing government job. It's not what, and they say, you're rejecting government job. He's working in a bank. He's working in a bank as the finance head. So they gave him a job just recently in the local government, because they were doing state employment, right? Local government employment, and they gave him the job. And they called the parents that, oh, we've given this job to your people, job that people are looking for. Your son is rejecting it. In this is job that he's doing that is not secured. You know how it goes. One morning you wake up and then they'll sack you and all that and all that. So those things come up. Another thing is, if you look at our upbringing, more or less some of us, I think, let me be specific to what Ajimoda was saying. Maybe you were brought up in the church, you're quiet, you don't want to do things, you don't want to show yourself, you assess some things. I've had that issue, and for the past few years, I've been working hard, to break out of that. You see content as a show, as being proud. If I make a content now and say, oh, I trying to advertise what I do, not not trying to be proud. When I made my first 1 million at so age, these are the strategies. Some people can be like, no, this brother, God has blessed him, or this sister, God now is showing up. But those are you need to be like the student of Issachar. You need to understand times that people want to follow results. People want to follow what they know, that if they follow, they are going somewhere. So your family upbringing that does not allow that can also affect how you react. And I believe we live in a world that does not reward quiet people. So if you're quiet, except by the mercies of God, you may not be going somewhere. The world does not reward quiet people. If you've had experience, sometimes if you go to offices, the people that talk are the ones they say, where is Mr. this meeting, management meeting? Let Mr. A and B join. Let him join. Let him join. We need this. We need him here, because they know he will just be talking. He will just be talking, right? So the world does not reward quiet people. It reward people who are outspoken, not talkative per se, but people who are outspoken. So you need to break out of that. And then lifestyle, which relates to the example I've made, still, considering the family upbringing, lifestyle. We grew up in areas where, especially when it comes to, I saw one of our pastors where I am this morning. Yesterday morning. It was yesterday I went to school. I saw one of our pastors with head warmer, put head warmer and joggers. The way he dressed, I was like, is this my pastor? Okay, no problem. The way he dressed, I was like, wonderful, wonderful. So there are certain jobs that requires you, if you're in the tech space, if you're in the media space, you need to knit up. You understand? Your style of dressing. It's not like you wear one shirt that is flowing down like this. Somebody will just be looking at this. So if I give this person 50 million, won't he run away with my 50 million to his village? So it requires you to have a lifestyle, not fake life per se, but the lifestyle. Affordable. In my office in Lagos, they used to call it affordable luxury. You must dress, with affordable luxury. So it requires it. So if you're brought up in an environment that says doing that means it's a show, you're showing up, you may not be able to do well in some sectors. So you will need to intentionally, break out of that. I'm just trying to comment on
Sorry, bro. Robert, we've run out
of
of
time, right?
time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. 15 minutes past the hour, and it's time for us to release everyone. The good thing is that everything you've heard this week, you come back next week and you hear new things. But it shows us that 1 hour is just not enough for what we intend to do. But because it's weekly, you have nothing to fear. You can come back with your questions, and we have a very special topic popped in the chat for us. Next week, we are discussing my job, my choice or no choice. Is it that I didn't have a choice, I just went ahead with it, or was it really my job? If you have settled the issue of career, then it's important to ensure that even where we are, we have a choice to be there, and we're not just hanging or surviving or just leaning on a thread. Next week will be very interesting. Please come along with all your friends, everyone that has complained to you that, my boss this, my boss that. Anyone you know that complains like that, please come with them. Anyone that is wondering, am I in the right job? I'm feeling very unsettled. I feel like I'm not there yet. I feel like there's more. Please come along with them. You can share with them the link. We're still going to be using the same Zoom link, same time, Friday by 8 p.m. We'll be here waiting for you, and you will have new resource persons speaking with you. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed anchoring this session. It's been nice hearing from everyone that has joined us, and I want to say big thank you to all of you for all of your thoughts, for all of your contributions, for the questions. There's still so much more we have left to unpack, but I'm sure that we can hold it, just keep it in a cooler, and by next week, you'll be willing to share. Do we have any last words from our resource person, please?
Okay,
In one
thank you,
minute.
Doctor. It's been a wonderful time. Okay, last words from me is like I still believe your job can be your career, and Ifunaya and Peace have also supported that assertion that yes, your job can be your career. And if you're here, you're even maybe above 30 and you're not settled in a career path, then it's we see a lot of people jumping. Today you're applying for admin, tomorrow you're applying for procurement manager, next week you're applying for front desk,
Yes, but you
and
start
all that.
content creation.
It doesn't go well. It's necessary to be consistent in what you're doing, even if it is not paying that much, right? But because, like I said, career is more or less an inborn thing. And like Ifunaya said, it is also something you can develop over time from a lawyer to a HR manager. But there has to be that consistency, right? Not jumping from admin to procurement to front desk to customer service and all that. So, my last words is that it is necessary to find your career early. It helps or it pays to be intentional about finding your career early.
Thank you very much for that. It's necessary to find your career early. If you're above 30 and you've not found your career early, there's no struggle. That's why we are here. You'll come next week, you'll learn from others. There are people that have stories and they didn't find their career until much later. The founder of KFC, as we all know, started KFC at 65. The number of people that did not start immediately, but the truth is that they are now fulfilled in a career. Next week, we'll be discussing my job, my choice or no choice, and we'll be ready to hear. So if you didn't say anything today, come ready to say many things next week. We would like to hear from you. Are you finding it easy? Is it stressful? How did you start? Did you have no choice? Or are you still sitting in the job that you still have no choice? Next week, we're willing to hear from you. And for those that had a choice and indeed the job or their choice, we're also willing to hear from you. Quick story from my end. I was 4 when I decided to be a lawyer. I mean, when you talk a lot, there's a tendency I will say, this is your child, this will talk plenty. But then again, I went my uncle's week and that changed it. That week scratched me that day. But I made that decision. But I have people that did not have to be 4 before they made the decision, or people that even made the decision at 4 and now they're doing other things. The intention is not to be rigid or be flexible, but whatever it is we are doing, the Bible says that fear thou a man diligent in his business, they will stand before kings, they will not stand before men. We are gathering a crop of young professionals that will be diligent in their businesses and will be qualified to stand before kings. Till next time, I remain your anchor, Shokwe Farano. And thank you very much for joining us. For those that were able to join us, please invite them next week. We'll be happy to hear from them. For now, it's a bye from my end. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our host,
Quickly
Sope.
rush to your kitchen. Our snacks that we shared is there. The delivery man. Please, I'm joking.
Our
Let's not
snacks
use joke to start
should be
sinning
way
against
big
God.
to some of us
Please go to your
outside your
kitchen.
location.
The item 7 is there. God bless you.
All right. Bye, everyone.